Yeah. Good morning and welcome to a dark parking lot in the middle of the night, and welcome to my mom's $1,500 stranded car. Now, this wasn't broken when she got it. This was an ex-fleet car from her work. And after just a few months of having it, now it is here. There was a loss of power and then it died, and the check engine light was on and it was flat-towed here, and now I'm here at 9 p.m. and we're gonna try and figure out what's wrong with it and if it's worth saving. And it's not our only car either. Her 128i is still around and also broken. It's got a suspension issue. Something is rattling quite profusely on left-hand turns. So we're gonna look at that as well, because I told her to not drive this until I could look at it and drive the Ford instead, and well, here we are. So before us is a, I don't know, 20-something Ford Bronco Sport. It's a base model. It was a fleet truck. Honestly, for a base model, pretty competent little commuter. Gets around. It's got four-wheel drive. It's got goat modes, which in my experience do absolutely nothing to help this thing get up any kind of incline. So let's go ahead and perform. Let's see, nothing's falling out the bottom, has it? No. Oh, I guess I should probably mention one of the heroes of this video. This just showed up today. This is the, what is this? It's an O-light of some description. Hang on, I need another. It's not all about me. I need another light. O-light Arc Pro Ultra. Very easy to remember. Thrust reversers go burr. We're right next to McConnell Air Force Base. We're right next to America's air refueling tanker fleet in the middle of a Middle Eastern conflict. So things get noisy around here. But this is pretty neat. It's a flashlight with a whole bunch of different modes. You got a spotlight, or sorry, that's a floodlight. And I got a spotlight and a UV light for reasons. And then with any of those, I can also turn on a laser. That's pretty sick. It's got a little, it charges on the bottom with like a magnetic charger, or there's a USB-C port on the side. And it feels like you could kill a man with it. You can also, let's see here, if it's off, you can see the battery status there. I can push and hold. I did it wrong. See, I think if I push and hold it while it's off, there we go, it locks, and then it won't accidentally turn on in my pocket. Pretty neat thing. They sent it to me not for a review or anything. They didn't have any input on what I do. They just sent it over and said, hey, here's a flashlight. Use it if you want to. I think it's pretty neat. I don't know what it costs, but a friend of mine is really into these O-lights, so I imagine they're fine. And it's coming in damn handy for this video. There we go. Max brightness again. All right, let's see if anything fell at the bottom. No, it continues to be obnoxiously dry under here for 170-something thousand miles. Behold, the EcoBoost 3-cylinder, what is this, 1.5 liter? Yeah, 1.5 liter EcoBoost 3-cylinder, sometimes known as the EcoBoom. So what these are known to do is these have, I believe, a wet oil pump belt. And the wet oil pump belt does not last. And then your oil pump goes bye-bye. And then your oil pressure goes bye-bye. Then your engine goes bye-bye. How's the oil look? It's not sparkly. The other thing that could have happened is a timing chain or timing chain tensioners went. So we'll have to take a look in there while cranking and see if anything spins. But yeah, it didn't shit its guts all over the floor. Having fun?
We hear a whining noise coming from it, and we're trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, it's just stuff priming. All right, let's grab our diagnostic tablet and see what codes we pull off this. I'm curious if there are a bunch of like, hey buddy, your timing is completely effed codes, or there it is, or like a loss of oil pressure code. What the hell was that startup animation? That is the corniest shit I've ever seen. I do like this interior though. You got nice dials for everything. You got a volume knob. You got a fan knob. You got a This should be elsewhere. There should be 2 more cup holders here instead of this worthless set of buttons. Aha. Scan. Okay, so everything looks good until we get to the PCM, and then we have turbine shaft speed sensor A, circuit range performance, cannot engage neutral, shift solenoid A performance stuck off, shift solenoid B performance stuck off, failed to engage part, transmission fluid low, transmission friction element A applying time and B applying time. Oh, that's right. This thing, for whatever reason, yeah, I can't see any live data in this car, and I'm not sure why. The scan tool just refuses to do it. There is, I don't know if you can see, quite a bit of fluid sitting on top of the transmission. Okay, so my best guess at the moment is that the torque converter has come apart internally, and the engine is no longer spinning the input shaft of the transmission, which means the transmission is not pumping any fluid internally, which means it lost clutch pack pressure. There are codes for the vane input speed, which at first I thought was like a turbocharger thing, but it's the I then realized it's the vane of the torque converter. So we're gonna start it. I heard it makes a hell of a noise, so yeah, let's see what this sounds like. Put it in drive. Yeah, transmission. That's less than ideal. All right, let's let the poor thing sit here and figure out how to tow it to Clearwater. Okay, let's see here. Now, to figure out what is going on under here. Could someone rock the car back and forth?
This is me grabbing her fender and lifting it at this. Anyway.
Oh, hey, I found the issue. It's exactly what I thought, but to a hilarious degree. I think just a thought. I think. Oh, and it's hitting the wheel. Oh, that's actually. Oh no, the sway bar is indeed loose, and it is hitting the wheel, and that's what the noise is. So I wouldn't drive on that. But it's a cheap fix. It's a very cheap fix. Just not one that I have the parts for right now, unfortunately. But hey, smoking gun found. I'm just gonna tuck that in there and get out from underneath this car. It's chilly and I want dinner. So what do you guys think? Do we put that Bronco's already had one transmission? Do we put a second one in it? I mean, for a $1,500 car, that maybe $2,000 on it. Also, look at this shit. Someone put KO2s on a Bronco Sport. Why? What? Why did you put God's worst tire?
And they're so loud.
On a Bronco? Yeah, they are the loudest thing known to man. And as a bonus, they're not all that good off-road. Delightful. So we put a note on it so it doesn't get towed, but it's already on its second transmission, 178,000 miles. You figure, you know, pretty much no matter what a transmission costs, I mean, it could probably sell for $10,000 tomorrow with a trans, even if it's like $4-5 grand installed. So, guess we'll get it to Lauer and see what they say. Hopefully. Your
face looks so creepy.
That was a Dodge Dart just now. I don't know what I was saying. A really loud Dodge Dart went by. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Olight for the flashlight. Having a laser this close to a military base with military Air Force base with planes flying overhead, I can't speak, is a fantastic idea. My cats are gonna have all kinds of fun with that. Anyway, thanks for watching.